Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I just wanted to talk with you guys briefly about something that I really believe in when it comes to training for bike racing, and that's the importance of training the way you're going to race. And I'm going to explain to you guys what I mean by that and how I'm using that philosophy in my own training here currently. Now, I used to do when I trained, I used to do all these different kinds of drills, high speed leg work, high leg speed work, slow mashing, pushing big gears. And you know what? I mean, I got to thinking, I noticed in my races, like for example, I would go out on my training rides and I would, do these intervals. I would do, a 10-minute interval or a 15-minute interval on a flat stretch of road, and I would, do low cadence work. I would go out there and mash the biggest gear I could mash and try to hold around 60 RPMs, thinking that this was going to help me build more leg strength, which was going to make me faster on the bike. And you know what? I mean, I noticed that in my racing and all the races I was doing and my hard group rides when I go out and ride with my team, Plastic Planet teammates, that nowhere in these group rides and nowhere in these races am I riding around at 60 RPMs. Using that cadence. So I got to thinking, why on earth am I training at 60 RPMs on these big intervals? And I wasn't doing this every day, but I would do these, a few times a week. But just in general, I'm never doing this when I'm racing or when I'm in a hard group ride. Why am I training this way? What is this benefiting me? And as you guys know, or maybe you don't know if you're a new subscriber, but basically it was middle of summer. It was in probably mid-July. Last summer in the July time frame, I pretty much devoted my training strictly to high cadence cycling because I'm a big believer, and I just know that for myself. When I ride with high cadence, I can just simply put more power down, and I can put it down for longer than I can if I'm mashing bigger gears. So I wanted to train myself to become accustomed and to become good at high cadence riding. And so I started doing that last summer. It worked very well for me throughout this past year, and you know what? I'm going to continue doing that into this year. So now when I do my training rides, I'm never, and I want to say I'm never, but I can't even remember the last time I was on a training ride here, whether it be outdoors or here on the indoor trainer. I cannot remember the last time I've done a training ride and have seen a sustained, and I'm talking, when I say sustained, anything longer than 10 seconds. I can't remember seeing a 10-second duration at below 85 cadence. And I'm typically now, I'm training anywhere, honestly, anywhere, even in my recovery intervals, I am spinning anywhere from 90 to 120, 125 cadence. And that sounds strange to some people. And I can't even tell you guys how many times in the last, 4 or 5 months, since I've been doing this, how many times I've been talking to somebody, or they've seen my cassettes on my bikes. I don't know if you guys can see, but I've got this is my R3, got a big cassette on here. This is actually an 11 to 40 tooth cassette. And, when I talk to guys about this, or they see my bike and they see these huge gears, they look at me like I've got 10 heads, basically. They're like, why do you got a 40 tooth cassette on your road bike? Like, what's that for? And I explained to them kind of what my philosophy is, and they, like I said, they just most people just don't understand it, and they don't think that it's applicable for trying to become a good performance-based cyclist. But you know what? I can only tell you guys what works for me and the experiences that I personally have on the bike, and without question, the number one thing that has improved my cycling in the last 6 months has been my switch to easier gears and spinning a high cadence. And now, when I'm training, and I'll be training on the indoor training here for the next, at least probably three months minimum, because, here in upstate New York where I live about 10 miles from the Canadian border, and we just get ridiculously cold winters and a lot of snow. And honest to God, guys, outdoor training just simply is not an option. I don't care how diehard you are. Outdoor training this time of year for me is simply not an option. So I'm on the indoor trainer. And even now that I'm on the indoor trainer, every ride that I do, every single ride, whether it's an endurance ride, whether it's a high-intensity interval ride, rather I'm just, burning butter watching a movie, on the trainer. No matter what I'm doing on the bike, okay, I have one consistent philosophy now, and that is I am going to spin a high cadence, and I'm going to be spinning anywhere, ideally over 100 RPMs. In my last, several weeks of training, I've been up there averaging. I'll go on a 2-hour training ride on the trainer with no back pedaling, no easy pedaling whatsoever, and I'll do a 2-hour ride, and I'll be averaging I'll average 108, 109 cadence for a 2-hour ride. That's some fast spinning. But what I believe, what I personally believe, is that this is going to have a humongous impact on my performance outdoors, because I want my body to become super accustomed to pushing out high cadence, where my body just doesn't look at 108 cadence as being all that high, because it does it every single day. So I train exclusively now with high cadence. I don't do any low cadence big gear work at all, none whatsoever. And I think this is really going to help my cycling. And I'm not telling you guys to go out there and spin 110 cadence. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm just telling you guys that works for me. I would experiment with it, honestly. I think a lot of you guys would be surprised at how well it will work for you. But what I'm trying to just explain to you in general is the fact that I think you should train the way you're going to race. If you're going to race at 60 RPMs and push big gears, then by all means train at 60 RPMs and push big gears. If that's what you're going to do when you race, you need to train that way, because the more you train that way, the more efficient you're going to become at it, and the more accustomed your body is going to get at doing that. So basically, I'm just telling you guys here, do what you're going to do in racing, okay? Whatever that may be, whether it's 60 cadence or 20 cadence. I don't care if you're pushing 20 cadence. Whatever you're going to do in a race scenario, I would recommend training that way, and don't get duped into doing all this extracurricular stuff just because you see it in a training program. I used to do that stuff. Well, the training program says I have to do a 20-minute interval at 60 cadence, that this is going to work on leg strength. I used to do that stuff. And what I have found for myself is that this approach really doesn't work, because A, I'm not mentally committed to it, okay? I don't have a lot of confidence in that, and it's not something I'm going to do in racing. So, I guess my basic philosophy is, if you're not going to do it in racing, why do it in training? I just don't understand now. I just don't understand why you would do that, and I'm no longer doing that. So the basic fundamental thing I want to stress in this video, guys, is that I think it's very important that you train the way you're going to race. And I just know that when I race, especially when I'm attacking hills, I'm going to be pushing super high cadence. And I'm not kidding. I want to push, if I can, and I think I can now with the gearing that I have and the training I do, I'm going to push 110, 115, 120 cadence up 20% hills. That's what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to put whatever gearing I need on my bike to accommodate that, even if it's higher than a 40-tooth cassette someday. Right now, I really don't know of a way to accommodate larger than this 40-tooth cassette, so it's about as big as I can go. But I tell you what, I have not looked back, and it's the best thing I've ever done to my bike is put this 40-tooth cassette on here. It's revolutionized the way I ride and the way I train. So in general, guys, I just think it's very important that you train how you're going to race, and I think that in and of itself can have a big boost on your training performance, on your race day performance. It's something I'm passionate about, something I wanted to make this video for you guys, kind of explaining. So now in my training, I do exclusively high cadence work, and I'm hoping and I'm confident that that's going to increase my abilities on the bike and increase my race performance. Again, guys, I appreciate all the support I'm getting here on the channel. If you enjoy these kind of videos where I just kind of sit and, talk to the camera for, 5-10 minutes about something I'm passionate about or something I'm doing, give me a thumbs up. I'll continue to make more of these if you guys like these. Again, I appreciate the support here on the channel, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys right back here in the next video.